Shalom friends, and welcome to this introduction to Hashkata meditation. What is Hashkata? What does it mean? Why do we do it? And how do we do it? Hashkata means quieting, but it is about much more than quieting. Hashkata is a Hasidic meditation technique that was taught by Rav Kalonymus Kalman Shapira, also known as the Piaseczno Rebbe, because he was the rabbi of the town of Piaseczno before he was the Rav of the Warsaw Ghetto during World War II. And he's also known as the Esh Kodesh by the name of one of his books. So he was teaching Hashkata meditation. And Hashkata, as I said, is about much more than quieting. Actually, quieting is just the first stage of Hashkata. We quiet so that the ego can calm down, so that the ego stops getting in the way of us connecting to ourselves, to our soul, to others, and to life, to God, to the divine presence. The Hashkata meditation helps us much more than kind of clear the ego out of the way of our connection with life and with others. Actually, it helps us emulate the divine attributes, which really are our true nature, right? It really is a practice for true self-transformation through the work of Tikkun Midot, the healing of our character traits. As we learn to cultivate, to nourish the qualities that we want to embody in everyday life. So when we practice Hashkata, basically it really is a kind of workout for the soul. And we learn to be more generous, more compassionate, more patient, more trusting, and all these other qualities that we want to embody in our everyday life. So there is something very, very concrete about it. And then if you want to take it to another level, you can realize that when we do that, when we embody these qualities, we really reconnect to our true nature, which is to emulate the divine, really. And so how do we do this? One of the unique things about Hashkata is that it is a very complete meditation practice that combines, or rather that takes us through a process of successive stages. There are 4 stages in Hashkata, and each of the stage is a specific meditation technique in itself. So we move from a process of observing our thoughts, so kind of receptive observation, and then we go into the contemplation of a pasuk so that we can get inspiration. Then we go into a practice of word repetition, which is akin, if you will, to mantra practice in other world traditions. And then we seal our practice with a Nigun, with chanting, with singing. So I just want to go a little more in detail about each of these stages. The first stage, if you've ever practiced mindfulness meditation, is quite similar. It's quite similar of mindfulness to mindfulness of the thoughts, because the Rebbe instructs us to lehabit b'machshavotenu, to look at our thoughts. So this is not an active observation like I'm reading a book. I'm not seeking to analyze what's going on in my mind. I am not looking for insights, although these are wonderful actually side effects of the practice. What I'm really looking at when I am receptively observing my thoughts, sitting quietly, doing nothing, not moving, not speaking, gazing down or closing my eyes so that I can really, really kind of become present and come to a deeper place. That is the point of the observation of the thoughts. So it's not about like understanding my mind or quiet, my mind, or choosing my thoughts, reject these ones and cultivate these ones, or not thinking. That is not the point. Actually, it's to invite or to enable a process that happens naturally when we stop acting and we simply quiet down. There is a natural slowing down of the flow of thoughts, and so a natural kind of quieting of the whole being, which according to the Rebbe is what enables also the ego to kind of calm down. And this is the kind of state we enter when we go into meditation practice, which can look like a state of between awakeness and kind of being asleep. He says kind of coming to this kind of sleep-like modality, but while staying awake. This is how the ego is actually going to calm down, and we're going to enable for a more spacious space of awareness, state of being, right? So when we're looking at our thoughts, what we're really trying to do is not so much to look at the thoughts, but to come back home to this quiet, very, very quiet place within, which you can call our neshama, which is this quiet awareness, always present, always observing, always seeing our experience. That is the first stage of Hashkata. The second stage, we're moving towards the work of Tikkun Midot, of healing our character traits. So we're moving towards, from this kind of state of deeper quiet and openness, we're moving towards a stage of cultivation. And in order to do that, we need to kind of connect to an energy that is greater than us, that is going to give us some inspiration to connect to this work. It's almost as if I'm moving kind of away from my own self-centeredness and kind of coming to sit in the house of the divine, in the house of life, and receiving from there the kind of inspiration and energy that I need for transformation. And so we do that through connecting to a pasuk. The pasuk, the verse, can change depending on the meditation you want to do. It generally has to be connected to the subject that you want to cultivate. So if I want to cultivate generosity within me, I will look for a pasuk that says something about generosity so that I can directly kind of tap into that energy. The example the Rebbe is giving in the text we have for Hashkata, which is published in a book called Derech HaMelech, the Path of the King. It's not the words of the Rebbe himself, it's a testimony from a student who was practicing with him. And so the example we have is the Rebbe saying, Hashem Elokim Emet. Beingness, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, the force of life, the divine, our God, is truth, or is true. So this is an example of a Hashkata practice that we want to do so that we can become more true. Cultivate really like a truthfulness, which is a wonderful and important quality. So we're connecting to this pasuk. And from there we move to stage 3 of Hashkata, which is a phase of word repetition. So we're going to repeat words, sentences, actually, in our own language. The Rebbe insisted on this, as many Hasidim did, that at some point, if you want something to be very personal and to touch you, you have to speak in your mother tongue. And you're repeating sentences that are going to cultivate, to nurture within you the seeds of this quality that you want to see grow in you. And one thing that the Rebbe says is that we are focusing on the good. We're not focusing on what we don't want. We're focusing on what we want to see grow within ourselves. So I'll give you an example. If I have a tendency to be impatient and I want to nurture the seeds of patience within me, I'm not going to say I don't want to be impatient, which is very interesting because today in psychology it's been recognized that the unconscious doesn't know negation. So if I say I don't want to be impatient, what the unconscious hears is impatience. And so when I repeat this, as we know words become our reality, I am actually reinforcing this. So we're leaving this on the side, we're not fighting it, we're not pushing it away, we're just leaving it be, and we're focusing our attention. It very much is a concentration practice at this point. We're not in a kind of receptive observation as we were in the first phase of Hashkata. We're moving into a different modality of meditation, which is cultivation, concentration. And so I want to focus on watering the seeds of generosity or truthfulness or patience in me. So I'm going to repeat sentences. So let's say I want to continue with the example of patience. It can be in the form of a bakasha, a request, like a prayer, a form of prayer. This stage actually very much looks like a prayer, an intimate prayer, like the stage of bakasha, of request in the Shmeicha Amida prayer that you may be familiar with. You can say it in the form of blessing yourself, wishing for yourself. You can say it in the form of affirmations. So really choosing what comes to you. Right? So rather than trying to control what's coming, allowing for what's arising in you to come and to teach you actually how your system wants to cultivate this quality. So for me, when I focus, what comes Comes under the form of a prayer, of request, like a bakasha. Please God, help me learn to be more patient. Help me calm down enough that I can really, really be patient. And I would repeat this several times. I would take my time and I would see what comes. A bit like in Hitbodedut meditation as taught by Rabbi Nachman. See what comes naturally, spontaneously, like free-flowing discourse. Maybe I want to say, may I embody savlanut, may I embody patience today. And as you're saying it, feel it, really experience it as if you already were living from this place. You project yourself in your day and see yourself in specific situations responding from a place of savlanut, patience, generosity, kindness, temperance, courage. It's a very important phase. So do this for as long as you need. And then we seal our practice with the fourth and last phase of Hashkata, which is a song. Right, so today in psychology, the kind of positive impact on our psychosomatic system of singing, the way it kind of rewires some of our neural pathways, the way it kind of grounds intentions deeper into the unconscious, have been proven. And this is something that maybe without knowing the scientific language of it, the Hasidim were practicing, right? They were practicing singing a lot of Nigunim, chanting. So not so much as singing a song, but actually repeating over and over and over again the same melody, the same words, right? Like another cultivation practice, just like water, just like soft rain falling on the seeds. And seeing the kind of transformation, the kind of different state of awareness that would kind of come from singing over and over again the same words with the same melody. And the Piaseczno Rebbe was teaching this on a specific psalm, one of the Tehillim. And the message of this psalm is not like random, it's very precise. There are two parts in it. In the first part, we are asking the divine to help us. We're asking God, we're asking life, whatever God language you have, or non-God language. We're asking the divine to show us the way. Horeini Hashem Darkeikha. And then we commit for ourselves to walk in truth, to walk with integrity, to walk as one, our heart as one, with kind of like focused mindfulness. And with a sense of deep respect, deep reverence and awe for the divine, for life. Ahalekh Be Amiteikha, I will walk in your truth. Yached Levavi, my heart as one. Le-ira, Shmeicha, in awe for your name. So I'm going to sing the song. It's a tune that's said to be the original tune sung by the Piaseczno Rebbe. And really what matters here is to use your voice. Not so much, to know the tune or not to know, just to use the voice and to connect to the words, to connect to the intention. So it goes like this. Horeini Hashem Darkeikha, Ahalekh Be Amiteikha, Yached Levavi, le-ira Shmeicha, Horeini Hashem Darkeikha. Please God, show me your way. Ahalekh Be Amiteikha, and I will walk in your truth. Yached Levavi, and my heart is one. le-ira Shmeicha, with all reverence for your name. And if you practice, I really invite you to sing this many, many times. Sing this for 10 minutes, for half an hour. It's very powerful. The more you sing, the more powerful it gets. And if you want to hear the Nigun again, you can find it on my YouTube channel, Mira Neshama. And I want to thank you for listening to this. I hope this helped you. I hope you practice. And by this practice, we kind of embody the Jewish ethos, which is to remind us that we connect vertically, we connect to the divine by connecting horizontally, connecting to each other through embodying the divine attributes, through embodying these qualities with each other. So may this practice really bring transformation for yourself and to the world. Thank you for listening to this and maybe practicing with me. And if you'd like to practice together more, feel free to join our morning Jewish meditations live at miraneshama.com. And now, friends, fill yourself with love and go share it with the world.